All right, hey everybody, this is Parrish. Time for another video coach on demand. We're going to work with Jim Carrey today with Bruce Almighty. Today's title of the video coach is PTSD and EQ. Talking with a dear friend of mine, military veteran, and he basically said it. He summed it up. He says, when does PTSD stop and EQ start? And we're going to try to help define that today with a good lesson plan. Let's get into the movie. Let's, actually, let me do the proper here since we're learning. I mean, this is education, right? We're not doing warm and fuzzy stuff. So let's get into the lesson objectives. Introduce how emotional intelligence can benefit someone diagnosed with a condition known as PTSD. All right, based on the science, and that's what I'm going to present to you. This is what we know. It's the new stuff. We're going to pull from psychology, but the new business is neurology, the emotional brain. We can develop emotional skill sets that enable us to recover from past situations that have caused us pain and suffering. This is a skill development process. Okay, I point that out because this is not therapy. It's not the commonplace practice of counseling or therapy, although these are respected professions and highly regarded. What we're seeing now with the new science and the fact that these are emotional skills, we can go through a skill development process to remedy PTSD. So that's what we're working on. Let's go to this video. It kind of sums it up. I love the scene with the filing cabinet. See if you can relate here.
Everything you've ever said or done or thought about doing, right there in that file cabinet.
Wow, a whole drawer just for me. Mind if I take a look?
Sure like.
That sounded be good.
Don't you know it is? All right, now this is you in your past. All right, you get the picture? All right, you see all this? This is your past. This is your history. This is everything that your brain has seen: sight, sound, taste, touch, and smell, the five common senses. And what we've recognized is you've got your own little video recorder, if you will, a little DVR, high definition, of course. But everything that you've experienced, you have a little filing cabinet in your head, and it's in there. And this goes for the good, it goes for the bad, and it goes for the ugly.
Now, this last entry was a little disturbing.
Classic scene, isn't it? So this is you and your past events. Oh, I love that one. And yes, this is how we often feel. Here you can take a look at him. You see how we feel right there? Anytime we get into our filing cabinet, this is how we look and this is how we feel. So it's a very emotional thing to pull that filing cabinet up. So let's take a look at this. Working on education here. We're trying to be smart about our emotions. Again, that's what EQ and EI are really all about. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off with a quick definition of what PTSD really is. And I've gone to, this is just a website that we exported. Again, you can do your own Google search on PTSD and EQ. This one actually comes from Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs, and it's actually defining for us what PTSD is. And this is very interesting because a lot of times we see it associated with military and combat, but we also recognize that all the natural disasters that we're going through and seeing, terrorist events, which we've seen and experienced. We have accidents that we all find ourselves in, and then we have physical or sexual assaults in our adult or childhood. So when we talk about PTSD, it pertains to a lot of us, you know, and specifically when we have, it's a psychiatric, which is a brain or mind disorder that occurs when we experience something or we witness something, okay? So people who have PTSD often relive the experience. They have nightmares and flashbacks. Can you relate? Yes. Difficult sleeping. Feeling detached. Again, there's a feeling. We're going to be smart about this detached feeling or estranged. And these symptoms can be severe enough and last long enough to significantly impair a person's daily life or their decision making. I'm going to look a little bit deeper here. PTSD can be treated with psychotherapy or talk therapy. And that's where we're at. That's what we're all about when we talk about developing skills and we look at what emotional intelligence is. And we're going to deal with things called chatter, regulating chatter, changing our chatter. So we're building off of science when I give you this instructional plan. Okay, this is just not some idea that some long-haired hippie guy with some tattoos come up with. We're building this as a learning aid for adults who are wanting to learn more about PTSD, but more importantly, how can we end PTSD and through our EQ skills create a better lifestyle for ourselves. Okay, so that's one article. I want to pull up another one here. This one's actually going to go to Psychology magazine, of Psychology Today. You can see it up here at the top. And again, PTSD is the amygdala hijacking. Okay, that's neuroscience. And the hijacking is a new term we're learning more and more about. So pointing out just a couple of things, again, both of these articles are on the website. What we're talking about is a traumatic stressors. In other words, you've got things in your filing cabinet that are related to that traumatic experience, and they've created stressors. But what we found is they do not injure the brain. Now, that's very important. You know, we have sometimes when you experience things, especially in military, that will actually do damage to the brain. And that is a unique case. That's not what we're dealing with. We're dealing with someone that has experienced trauma that has, through the natural process of the brain, created stressors. So the brain's not injured, all right? But they do change, these events that we experience, change the way our brain works. And that's what we're learning about. And it's complicated. I'm trying to simplify this, trying to be quick so you don't get long-winded or bored. But what we've got to recognize is that there's two modes for the brain. There's a learning mode, which is what we all want, right? And then there's a survival mode. And then that's what happens to the brain after we experience traumatic events. And it's interesting to look at what each mode is about. And you're in the learning mode. Your brain works as individually by itself to explore and enjoy the world, to gain and remember knowledge that enriches the life. Okay? But you got to work on that. There's skill sets that get you into that. But in a survival mode, a brain in survival mode is on a defensive and prone to negative emotions or behavioral reactions. The shift is observed in changes in the relationship between the emotional brain and the deep thinking midbrain areas. Okay, now that's getting real complicated. You know, limbic system, amygdala, all of these things. You don't need to know all of that. But what you need to understand is that once you've experienced something, trauma, it could potentially shift the way your brain works and thinks. Now, here's the good news. Here's the good news. Again, this is not an injury, but it is an altered mode of operation, which profoundly changes the way you think, the way you feel. All right? In other words, PTSD changes our state of mind. And it's through emotional intelligence skills here that we can work to get that back online. Okay? Good article here. I'm not going to take time to read this. What I do want you to see is successful treatment for and recovery from PTSD involves the mind resetting the brain, reclaiming self-awareness and self-confidence. Those are emotional intelligence skill sets. And getting clear thinking in ways that restore the mind to itself by stopping the amygdala hijack. Okay? So, you got to read up on this. I'm trying to make this fun and user-friendly for you, but this is science and it's complicated. Again, you've got to pay attention to some of these things. Do your Google search. Go out and do your own research. You're going to find that we're speaking with strong instructional sound design here. This is all about adult learning. So one of the things we draw a reference to and the tool we use, you can find it right here, module number 3. We're talking about self-concept, and we're going to drill down here specifically. But let's get over to the lesson plan. All right, let me stay on my path. Again, this is instructional design. Here's what you need to know in adult learning. We always tell you what you need to know. Then you need to know the skill sets that you're going to use, and then here's what you need to be able to do. And again, a lot of times it's the skill that becomes the gap. Okay? You train somebody, you sit them in a class, you measure the knowledge transfer, they test it out in the grades, in the Q&A tests and quizzes. You take them out and they demonstrate they know how to do the drill and everything. But when it comes time, they don't actually do it. Well, what is that? Well, there's a gap. That's why we follow the KSA model. So let's get into it. Here's what you need to know. You must know and work to understand these 3 items. Again, very elementary. 1 is connections. Okay? Thoughts get recorded in memory. Every thought. Remember? All right, let's go back to the classic scene here with Bruce.
Everything you've ever said or done or thought about doing right there in that file cabinet.
All right, so everything you ever thought, saw, experienced is right there in that brain of yours. All of it, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So that doesn't have anything to do with you being messed up. It's natural. In other words, that's how your brain's designed. It creates connections when sight, sound, taste, touch, and smell goes in there. Okay, so it's called memory. You must know and understand this. Okay, you've got memory, you have your filing cabinets, and that's why that bad stuff pops up. It's natural. It's what the brain does. It captures it. Second thing you need to recognize is connected. Okay, we're going to talk to you about 3 different windows that are all connected. All right, I have actually included one of our worksheets that we use for the instructor guide. And again, what we talk about when we talk about self-concept. Okay, self-concept is basically it's a general idea derived or inferred from specific situations or occurrences. So, in other words, you experience something and you now have a self-concept on it. You may not have known that. But when we look at this and teach this for you is that self-concept is kind of like the umbrella. Okay, and under the umbrella you have 3, according to science, different categories. You have your self-image, which is your past, and that's the one we're speaking to. And you can see we've color-coded these for a reason. Okay, you have self-ideal, which is your future. And then you have self-esteem, which is how you feel about it. So the way we teach this is about windows. And again, the bottom line, if you get anything out of this, when it comes to experiences in our past window, that continually pop up in today, one, we've got to recognize that it's a natural function. That's normal. But in order to actually self-regulate, self-aware, and use my emotional intelligence skill sets, there's a certain way I need to regulate. And that's what we teach in this class. In other words, when I'm looking through the future window, there's a very specific way I should be looking through that window. And we do it through self-awareness and self-regulation skills right here that we're going to talk about. Okay. When I look to my past, when I find my thoughts in my past, again, I'm going to be pulling up all those things in my memory and my filing cabinet. Well, what I'm suggesting to you is a set of skills, again, set of skills, awareness skills and regulation skills on how you think about the past. And doing it naturally is not very beneficial for you. Just naturally letting unregulated chatter pull up all that crap from the past into today is not a good thing. Okay, we're going to talk about more. So again, we have this worksheet. Again, you need to go through the worksheet. You can download this, call us on a coaching session. Don't want to get off on this because it takes a while. This is about a 2-hour session to work through that. So again, getting back to the KSA model, what you need to know is that all these windows right here, they're connected. If you got stuff popping up in the past, it's going to connect to today and it's going to affect tomorrow. That's the bottom line to it. Okay? And again, what you must know and understand is that the good, the bad, and the ugly, the past window needs skill regulation for the bad stuff that pops up and the ugly stuff that pops up. And that's why we call this actual workshop, this actual worksheet, rather. It's a good, the bad, and the ugly exercise. And again, we're looking through the window of the past. And it's in red for a reason. It means you need to stop doing what you've been doing in regards to thinking about your past and regulate. You need to develop some new skills here. Again, in the color correlation, again, if you're listening to this through the podcast, you want to check out the video coach. But the present window is in the green for a reason, because this is where you want to keep your chatter. You want to regulate in the now. And then again, you see the yellow for the future. You need to take caution. You need to regulate with caution. So, again, staying online here so we don't get too long-winded for you. I know my D-diet driver, director personality styles are getting a little impatient, so let's get on with it. The skill that you must develop, these are your emotional intelligence skills. One is self-awareness. And we start with chatter. We teach this as chatter. So what you need to do is recognize your past chatter is going to pop up. You must teach yourself first to be aware. So, here you are in today or tonight, 2 in the morning, and that past chatter, which we understand chatter, those are words and mental pictures. Here they are today or in the now popping up from your past. So we're saying the first thing you've got to do is you've got to be aware of it. Whenever you are here and you find words and mental pictures, thoughts, chatter, it's all the same, popping up, if you're not aware, then you don't have a chance of regulating. That's why this is a skill development process. So you need to be aware of what's going on, and when it pops up into the past, you now know that there's a special way you're supposed to be thinking about your past. Okay? The second skill set is regulation. You're going to basically replace the bad or ugly thoughts with good ones. And this is a process. So you don't think it's some switch that you're going to, just turn the switch on and all right, woo, cool, I got happy thoughts. No, that's not it. And it's not just about having happy thoughts. This is about reprogramming the mindset. Remember the article, all right? So what we're talking about here is your past chatter and you're regulating, right? What's right and what do I want to do better? That's another technique we learned from Brian Tracy, okay? It's another technique. Again, you get us into the classroom and the EQ workshops so we can better talk about that. But the bottom line is you have a filing cabinet full of all kinds of stuff in the past, and it's going to pop up. That's what this equal sign's for. And when it does pop up, you need to be aware of it, and then you need to regulate it. These are the skills that we teach. Now, again, you learn this in therapy and you learn this in counseling, but this is skill development. This is you taking your personal initiative to regulate your own chatter. All right, what you must be able to do. Here you go. Here's the ability. You need to be able to change your chatter. Bottom line, you need to develop new thoughts. Again, thoughts are chatter. Thoughts are words and mental pictures. And then again, new feelings about specific events. Okay? One of the things you're going to do on the worksheet here is you're going to go in and you're going to describe a time in your past that continues to pop up in your thoughts. And I want you to describe that. All right. Well, as this continues to pop up, you're now going to use your emotional intelligence skills to develop new thoughts about that situation. And you're going to develop new feelings, two different agendas about that situation. Okay? That's what you must be able to do when using your skill sets. All right. The second thing is recover. This is not about prevention. Again, it's in there. Remember the filing cabinet. Okay? The fact that it's in there. You don't purge. You can't delete. You have to basically go into each file here. Let me get a picture there. Yeah, you got to go into each one of these files. And I know there's a lot of them. That's why it's a process. You got to take it one at a time. You pull out one file at a time. And if it has anything bad or ugly associated to it, you got to work through it to recover. And that's basically you develop very specific words and mental pictures that bring peace into the moment, right? Because really, this is where we're all at. This is what we're all about right here. Peace in the moment. Peace in the moment, even when this is popping up, continuing to haunt us. And again, this is just a process. That's the bottom line to it. All right, we're going to wrap this up. Here's your EWOD, your emotional workout of the day. One is complete the window of the past worksheet. Again, we have this on the website. You can give us a call. Too much to get into right now. I'm trying to be sweet and user-friendly with you, trying to be, milk and cookie elementary, but this is not, as you can imagine, this is not an easy thing to go through. It's simple. We do break it down, and once you get the knowledge, you'll be able to do it, and once you can get your skill sets built up, you'll be very effective in going back into past situations and learning how to rewrite them, if you will. Go back into the filing cabinet, and you're literally going to rewrite each little file that has something bad or ugly associated to it. Okay? And then I want you to go in and I want you to research EQ and PTSD. Now remember, EQ is emotional quotient. That means we can measure how smart you are. And then EI are the actual skills you're using, which we've tried to identify. Okay? But learn more about how to break this cycle by developing your skill sets that you already have and use every day. When you go online, you can do a lot of research. We also have our website, a couple of different resources here for you, pt.com, where you can actually go and you can look at the Windows of Self-Concept instructional package. You see our header here. You can't hide from yourself. It's in there. It's coming out. But again, we got a lot of tools here on the website that kind of help you work through this process. And then, of course, you can go to the YouTube channel. Again, right off the website, you can, you click it right off of here. And then when you get to the YouTube channel, make sure you go to playlist and you want to do the EQ training video coach and look through here. Again, just a lot of different videos. Again, you can see the short lesson plans, and you want to look for anything that has a reference to Windows. Like here we go, see Windows and chatter, self-concept. Again, that's part of the Windows lesson plan. So a lot of different resources here for you. Use them. Here's another one, window 1 of self-image. So again, resources for you. All right? Lots of good stuff, man. It's all about you getting better, stronger, and wiser, and being the best you can be today. Okay, that's a wrap. Another Video Coach on Demand. Have a blessed day.